were on the call. It was Chargers. It was Panthers. Another run freaking heavy game. You hate to see it. 250 yards on the ground for the Chargers. Let's start with their side because they're the victor, right? Justin Herbert, what are you seeing? Is there anything new that you're seeing this year?
Well, I think that they just want to come out and run the ball. They're exactly what Jim Harbaugh was the past couple years at Michigan. And you look at that Greg Roman offense. It's interesting for the Panthers. The previous 2 weeks, they played Clint Kubiak, and I was with the Saints. They used Taysom Hill the very same way. They used Kyle Juszczyk, obviously a little bit different. But then they had a big guy, Josh Matlock, yesterday for the Chargers. He's a big defensive lineman. He wore number 44, and they used him just like Pat Ricard in Baltimore with Greg Roman last year. So they came out, they're in big, heavy personnel, and they just ran power downhill lead, power downhill counter, a little bit of wide zone, and just pounded the ball. And you look at J.K. Dobbins, a lot of his runs went to the left side of the defense. Boom, you get enough J.K. Dobbins, you tire him out. Boom, we're going to put Gus Edwards in and pound him too. And to be honest, Justin Herbert had to just hand the ball off, convert a couple third downs. They only threw the ball past 10 yards in the air 5 times. He threw 2 touchdowns. And, you know, I think the biggest thing for Justin Herbert is if the run game's working, man, just stick with it and try not to do too much. He had a fumble in the first half that was kind of like, man, like just throw that ball in the dirt and move on to the next play. But he's a big physical player. They ran him once yesterday, and you see him in space running the ball. It's a problem, but they didn't do anything crazy. There was nothing wild about what they did. They just lined up and said, hey, we know we're going to hold you guys in the offensive side of the ball. We know you guys aren't going to score a ton of points. We're just going to pound the ball. We're going to control the clock. We're going to shorten the game, and we'll see if you guys can stop the run. And with Derek Brown being out yesterday, I really don't blame them.
I know you love Derek Brown. Yeah. There's all that's going on. I have to ask you on the Panthers side. I obviously want to keep it positive, but it's almost what's the biggest concern? Bryce didn't throw a ball over 10 yards. Like that was all the passing charts. That was huge on Twitter yesterday. Is that on him? Is that on the O-line? Is that on play calling? I'm sure you'll say all, but if you were to sort of point to the most frustrating part from yesterday, what is that?
I thought up front we played really well. I think that the guys in the offensive line, I think, are doing a fantastic job. And last year, we've talked about it, Bryce got hit a lot. He got sacked 62 times. So I think for him, he's just got to get comfortable playing behind these guys. Have confidence that they're going to block who they're going to block. Have confidence that you're going to have a pocket. Have confidence that we're going to get open downfield. And just go trust yourself and let it rip. And we can all go back and watch Bryce in Alabama and him slinging it around the yard and him sitting in the pocket and him being on the run, putting on guys' chests. I think we just all need to take a step back and take a breath and say, hey, Bryce, you're a really good player. We drafted you at 1 for a reason. I would argue that a majority of the NFL would have done the same thing if they had the number 1 overall pick. Just sit behind these front 5 guys in front of you. We've got some new pieces around you on the offensive side of the ball. We understand that. But just have confidence in what we're doing. I thought we ran the ball pretty well yesterday, but again, we got down early and I kind of had to abandon it a little bit. But I'm a huge optimist for the Panthers. I'm not ready to freak out yet. I think if we just sit back there and trust our guys in front of us in the offensive line a little bit, we're going to have a little bit more success moving forward.